What is up, guys? Kobe Cheese here with another video talking about one of my builds that I have got to map level. Seems like I've been doing quite a bit of new builds lately. So this one I actually respect after the nerf to summoners. They took out Smoke Mine, and I decided to respect to Righteous Fire, which was a build that I was doing previously, and then I died on that one. But I was like, well, I'm already Marauder. Let's go ahead and do Righteous Fire because it's a lot of fun. So let's take a look at what it is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this map and we'll explain exactly what I'm doing. But first, which auras am I running? Vitality and Purity of Fire and Grace. Now the crazy thing about Righteous Fire is it should burn you down to no life and then turn off. But since I have so much regen from the past tree, like 10 regen from the tree, and then you get more regen from you know, your Vitality aura and all that good stuff. It all comes together to make it so that you actually regen life rather than degen life. You'll notice I'm at 584 regen at the moment. Well, that's with this different chest on. So let's go ahead and talk about a couple of things that I do in order to make this build work out and do lots and lots of damage. So pretty much just like Summoner, you are going to be snapshotting the damage of Righteous Fire. So the way Righteous Fire works is it is a buff that persists until, like I said, you get to 1 HP and then it turns off. So therefore, whatever damage you have when you turn on Righteous Fire is going to persist. Even if you take the gem out of your skills, you can take the gem off and throw it on the ground, and Righteous Fire remains until you leave the area. So what I do is I put a Carcass Jack on, and we use that to turn on Righteous Fire. Also, I have these two things right here, the red beaks. At low life, you get an extra 100% increased damage. All right, so that's 200% total. I've got an Animate Guardian who has a Leer cast and a Dying Breath Staff. You'll notice those buffs on me right now. So what I do in order to get low life very quickly and easily is I've got Blood Magic linked to my Purity of Elements. So let's go ahead and turn on Purity of Elements. Boom, we are low life. And we're going to turn on our Righteous Fire now with the Animate Guardian there and with low life. Boop. And then we got to go right around, or not around, we got a weapon swap right back, and you'll see my life go back up to a decent amount. And I actually use my Ruby Flask whenever I want to regen very quickly. So right now we are sitting at 90 fire resistance. Once I hit a level 20 on my Vitality and level 20 on my Purity of Fire, I'll get even more life regen effectively, you know, because I'm regening more than I'm degenning in a sense. So now that I've weapon swapped, the Animate Guardian goes away. The items that he has, they persist, even if you weapon swap like that. So the only way to lose those is if he dies, but since he's never up, he never dies, essentially. And you'll notice that since I use Carcass Jack, that gives me the extra area damage. It also gives me extra radius. The size of the Righteous Fire is quite large. So let's go ahead and take the Carcass Jack off and place these gems where they belong. Let me go ahead and I just put them in there to level them. My Conk Effect is level 17, and so is my increased area of effect. I could continue to level those if I wanted to, but I just keep them in the Carcass Jack for the moment. So anyhow, I forgot to take some of these things out. Let's go ahead and do the map. You guys are probably bored, like, well, show us the build, bro. All right, let's do it. It's pretty simple. You just run around. I curse a LE weakness. LE weakness is going to lower the damage by quite a significant amount, especially since it is a quality LE weakness. You'll notice I just kind of run around. Things die almost instantaneously because the amount of damage that I do is very significant. I think my math might be kind of wrong, and on the low end, I probably do more damage than I've calculated, but I've calculated that I do around like 21,000 damage or something like that, based on all of the increased damage modifiers that I have. I still have not taken all the damage nodes on the tree. Eventually, I'm going to be grabbing these Holy Fire nodes. That's an extra 60% burning damage, so that'll be very nice. I do have a String Bond Totem, but it's not leveled up very high yet, so it kind of sucks. I just put that in there with the increased burning damage and stuff. Whenever I run into a room like this, I'll just turn on I'll just turn on stuff like my Ruby Flask. I'll put that on, and everything's good. The cool thing about this build is, you know, while there are a lot of mods that you don't really want to do, at least initially, you don't want to do like half regen and vulnerability maps until you get level 20 gems and you have decent gear. You can still do a lot of maps that other people couldn't do. So Temp Chains is not necessarily so bad. You're still going to be doing just as much damage in Temp Chains maps. You're just going to be running slower, and it's really not a big deal. In Feeble maps, potentially, oh yeah, that lowers your damage a little bit. Oh, is this the Invader guy? Let's go ahead and kill him. He's gonna do quite a bit of damage to me. I don't have the best gear just yet, so let's hope he dies. He's actually He's actually tanking quite a bit of damage. Alright, so it took a little bit longer to kill that one. Normally I kill these guys pretty quick. Alright, so anyways, let's talk about the other stuff that he does. So elemental weakness to lower the resistances. That's going to make my burning damage tick a lot harder. You'll also notice that sometimes an Ice Nova goes off. I have a self-cast Ice Nova, as well as a cast on damage taken Ice Nova with 20 quality. It's only level 8, so that it can function with a level 1 cast on damage taken, and, you know, during Cry, because, well, let's get tankier, right? So we got that set up. And I also have a Cyclone. The Cyclone doesn't really do any damage. I'm using a Bright Beak because Bright Beak allows me to attack faster, which allows me to leap slam quicker, as well as the resistances on it. So it allows me to overcut my resistance even further than I normally would have been able to. Alright, so we've got leap slam to move around. Gives us that mobility. We've got Cyclone linked to life on hit. Pretty much, I just use Cyclone because it's kind of fun to use. Even though it's not really doing damage, it feels like I'm killing things with Cyclone. It makes the build kind of fun. So I can either run around and I can Cyclone, or I can use Ice. I guess I didn't explain why I'm using Ice Nova. So I'm actually using Elemental Equilibrium. Elemental Equilibrium reduces the resistances of enemies by 50% to the elements that you don't use. So since I'm using Ice Nova, they are reduced. Their fire and lightning was reduced by 50%. Now, you would think, well, you're constantly doing fire damage, they must be resistant to fire now. No, the way it works is you actually have to do an attack that hits. So both Searing Bond and Righteous Fire, since they don't actually hit the mobs, they're just considered a burning effect. They don't actually cause them to be resistant to fire. So it works out really well with a build like this. So I can potentially get them down like a negative 100 resist, I guess, something like that. Let's see, cursed enemies lose 49% resist from LE weakness, as well as the 50% from, from the elemental equilibrium. So overall, everything comes together to cause the build to do a lot of damage. Now I'm going through kind of slow. Let's go ahead and do this. Oh yeah, so Vow Cyclone, which is also linked to life on hit. This is able to help me kind of like pull things into pretty much just the black hole of doom, essentially, because anything that gets next to me is going to die very quickly. Other cool thing is a lot of bosses in the game tend to do really high fire damage. A lot of the new invaders and a lot of the just in general, a lot of the really dangerous stuff in this game has fire damage. And since you are actually immune to fire damage once you pop a Ruby Flask, you don't really have to worry about most of that. See these guys? They're throwing out that. I have 90% resist, and if I really want to take 0 damage, I'll just pop a Ruby Flask, of course. And if I'm taking a lot of damage in general, I'll pop a Ruby Flask. And since my regen is so insane, like 600 regen at the moment, that means that I'm going to always be regenning more than a life flask would regen. So think about it this way: you get how much life? You get about 392 life from a seething flask, right? So 392 life from a seething flask. You can use those 3 times, sure. That's going to give you 1200 life. Or I can just turn on my Ruby Flask, and that gives me 600 per second. Okay, that's like having 2 instant flasks every second that Ruby Flask is turned on. It's really insane. Like, I have so much survivability just from that alone. And even without the Ruby Flask on, I still have a decent amount of regen, and it's only going to get better as I level up my gems. This is one of those builds that with level 20 gems, it's just it's ridiculous. That's why you see the people, the only people who have actually been able to kill Aziri are people that play Righteous Fire. Also, you see some people that do like Cyclone with really expensive gear and stuff like that too. But in any case, I've actually got only 5,000 life, 5,100 I guess right now. People at my level can actually have much more life. I just don't have a lot of life gear. I'm actually magic finding, so I 5 linked to my carcass jack and I linked it with item rarity. That allowed me to snapshot item rarity gem into my Righteous Fire. You only need a 4 link for this to work. You don't even have to have a 5 link. The 5 link is only if you want item rarity. There's nothing I can think of that you can actually put on Righteous Fire for a 6th link that would be very effective. So yeah, the build is very cheap. All you actually need is a Rise of the Phoenix Shield, and that gives you the extra like 8% fire resistance that you're going to require in order to meet the regen requirements. So overall, build comes together very nicely. You see I'm already like full on items. Well, pretty much. Yep, there you go. Full on items. Because I'm at 200% rarity, I'm using a pair of RSEs. I also have some pretty much my amulet, all it does is give me a little bit of resist and rarity. I have a ring that gives me life and that's a small amount. This ring sucks. I need to replace it. And I've got a little bit of rarity on that ring. Literally, the mana regen is useless. I don't need that. But the point is, like, my gear is very cheap. It's all mostly self-found. So, well, let's see. Everything except for the Rise of the Phoenix, Brightbeak, is self-found, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I've literally self-found. Okay. I bought the RCs. I've found my own RCs, but I bought a perfect pair because I died with my other perfect pair. But essentially, everything except the shield is self-found. So this build is very doable. It's very cheap. You can spend a lot of money because you can buy like a Comb's Heart. Comb's Heart would make this build insane. The cool thing is that you can run this build on a Comb's Heart. It's going to give you a lot of damage and life. The cool thing about it is life is damage in this build. You see, I just took a ton of damage there, but it's because I was kind of not paying attention. I don't even have a. Normally, I would have like a. Eventually, I'm going to have like just one potion and then like 3 rubies or whatever. Like 3 rubies and a granite. That's going to be the setup that you want to do. But as you can see, the build is very easy. Stuff runs into me, I die. I mean, it dies. I have lots of regen, and it's a very simple build. There's not much to it other than that. I just run around and kill stuff, and it's very fast clear speeds. So one of the best solo builds I've ever made in my career of Path of Exile. Now that you know how it works, let's take a look at anything else. Let's see. I don't know if I missed anything. Like I said, I have you need a lot of blood magic gems essentially. But we got leap, slam, faster attacks, blood magic. You've got your. I'm leveling up Immortal Call because eventually, if I wanted to do Aziri, I can take these buff nodes right here, and I can get a very long duration Immortal Call. We've got Ice Nova, Ellie Weakness on blood magic. We've got our castle damage taken set up on the shield there. We got Vitality, Purity Fire, Reduced Mana, Grace. All that stuff set up for the auras, so we're very tanky. I think I'm only at like 37% damage reduction. My gear is not that good. Normally, you don't want to have Energy Shield because you degen life based on your ES, but this was a good shield. It had rarity and life and resist, and I still found that too. Let's see, RCs, I could be better. I could get life on those. The belt is kind of shit. It just has life and a little bit of resist. So, you know, overall, the gear is not too crazy. Let's see, what did I have? Oh yeah, like I said, Val Cyclone, life on hit, and you don't really have to have that for the builds. A lot of people don't actually run Cyclone. I just use it because I like it, and you know the extra life regen from life on hit is kind of nice. I don't even have it with quality, but the Val Cyclone is just fun to use, so that's why I use it. Mostly because it's fun. You know, pretty much what I do in this game is I have fun, so that's what I'm doing there. Wow, this is all my Magic Find tabs. I don't like to. Oh my god, I have so many things. Apparently, I need to ID items. I just kind of dump stuff in here whenever I do maps, rather than actually IDing it. Anyhow. That's pretty much all there is to the builds. I'll probably be working on another build soon after I get this character leveled up a little bit more, and he's essentially just my solo Magic Find character. That's all I'm using him for. I'm going to try and just get up to like level 75 maps, farm those, sell off the 76s and 77s, or just hold on to them for another character that I want to get to like high 90s that is, you know, maybe a group play character or something like that. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any more questions, definitely post them down below or check out my build thread. I have a build thread with all of my items linked in there, and all the theory crafting for this build is in my spreadsheet as usual. So I'll see you around for the next one. I'm Koba Cheese. Peace out.